Hi friends, Eric here, and I'm just here with my friend Jane Sider from our Meeting House Ottawa Parish. Hey Jane.
Hey,
And we just want to talk to you guys about something that we are starting up in January, what we call the J term. It's just an opportunity that we want to make available to you to have some space to do a little bit of internal work, and maybe find some rest and kind of peace for your soul in these tumultuous days. Been thinking about how COVID and even the Advent season can take a lot out of us, and yet we're so busy and we're so stressed that we don't have a lot of time to really pause and take a look at what's happening inside of us and what's really going on. And as we were reminded this past Sunday in the teaching with Danielle about tragedy, um, all of this starts with being honest. We have to actually take a deep, hard look and say, what is really going on? Where am I at? What are the hurts and pains that I'm feeling? And then we can move forward from there. And I just thought it was so poignant when Scott Erickson was talking about his trip to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. And there was these lineups of people to see Sadness, the character from Inside Out, and to get their photo taken. And even for Scott, it was this really deeply emotional, spiritual experience to be with her and to say, yeah, there's something powerful about recognizing all of these emotions inside of us that are going on. And often we don't take time to address them. We can just kind of overlook them. And so we want to intentionally put together an opportunity for people here in Ottawa to be part of an experience where they can take that time in a really safe space to actually do that internal work and to be guided through asking some of those questions really gently and be cared for in that. And we're calling that group spiritual direction. And so two members of our community, Jane and Margot Kidd, are spiritual directors. And so they're going to be giving of their time to help lead these groups. So Jane, why don't you tell us a little bit about what group spiritual direction would look like?
yeah, I'd love to. I'm just going to tell a little story to give it some context. Anybody out there? Mark was outside sawing wood and he could hear a child's voice calling from a nearby backyard. Anybody out there? Continue getting more insistent. Anybody out there? He realized it was the neighbor's 7-year-old all alone in her backyard on the other side of the fence. I'm here. Do you want to talk with me? He said. An empathetic yes, and a very sweet conversation followed. She caught him up on what her news was and about her brand new dog. So there's nothing remarkable about this anecdote other than it's kind of stayed with me as a poignant metaphor for the longing so many of us have been feeling, particularly these days, to be seen, to connect to others, and to be found when we feel alone. So, as Eric said, out of discussions with some of the leaders, we thought it would be a great idea for our parish to offer a special opportunity for nurturing this kind of deeper connection and soul refreshment through group spiritual direction. Now, if you've never heard the term or don't know what spiritual direction is, it's a facilitated process for cultivating a deepening awareness in your own life through the presence, the activity, and the movements of God in your life and how you might be responding to that. Or another way of putting it, it's a process to help you see Jesus at work in the midst of your story and learning to be a witness to your own thoughts and life.
Yeah, I've been doing spiritual direction for a while now, and I get together with my spiritual director on Zoom, and she just kind of leads me through different questions that I need to ask myself, different practices that she invites me to try out and see if they work for me and if they're helpful or not helpful. This past session, she put together a picture of about 30 or 40 different road signs and said, sit with this picture for about 10 minutes and ask God what it is, which sign he's pointing you towards, which feels like a really sort of weird exercise. You know, you're looking at like turning signal lanes and like different things. And but yeah, there was one that I was drawn to, and it was the image of kind of a crosswalker, crossing guard thing where there's two people who are about to cross the road, and there's an older person and a younger person. And and that was I was like, yeah, that one's really catching my attention. And so she asked me some questions to say, you know, what is it about that image that is capturing your thought? And I realized that for me, a lot of the time I see myself as kind of the older person in that image, you know, guiding people, whether it's my kids or working as a pastor, you know, you're kind of guiding people across the road. And it sparked in me this recognition that, there's a longing in me that there are times where I need to be guided across the road. And then as we kept going, we began to talk about some of the stories from my past and realizing that throughout my life, God has consistently been present to sort of guide me across the road and has brought people into my life to help be guides. And so I got to the end of it and I texted my wife, Sarah, and I said, I just had, this really great session with my spiritual director. And it was, she asked some questions that really made me think and challenged me. But at the same time, I got to the end of it and I felt so hopeful and felt like I had a much clearer understanding of where I'm at in the sort of the story of my life and what God is doing right now, and walked away feeling really, really encouraged. And I had come in kind of feeling like I didn't know what was going on. And so I know it's been such a helpful experience for me to have those sessions. And so I think we want other people to be able to experience that sort of like hopefulness and clarity and that sense of being safely guided through what can feel sort of like the scariness of what's happening inside of us without judgment. And so I'm excited for you and Margot to be leading these groups. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about the practical aspects of how this is going to work? So we know what's happening in January, but what else do people need to know?
Yeah, so the thought is that it would be a 5-week journey. The groups would be up to 4 people and a leader, and it would be 1 time a week in duration. So for an hour and a half. And once we have gauged interest, there'll be a number of different possibility for time slots that we can fit people in, hopefully, with their schedule.
Perfect. So really small groups, once a week, about 90 minutes. We'll find time slots that work for the groups, and about 5 weeks starting beginning of January, kind of first thing. Awesome.
Yeah, and just again to highlight that it is really about trying to foster some of that deeper connection with God and soul refreshment. We are very aware of, for everybody, how weary people are in this season right now, and we think this is a great idea to help with that.
Yeah. And so if some soul refreshment sounds like something that you could be looking for, and having some space where you can kind of process this together sounds like something that you would want to be a part of. Getting involved is really easy. You can just send me an email at eric.versluis@themeetinghouse.com, or there's going to be a link right below this that you can click on. It's going to take you to a form that you can fill out to apply to be part. As Jane said, we're keeping these groups really small. Probably, again, 4 people maximum in a group plus Jane or Margot. And so we want you to be a part of that. And we also just wanted to let you know that because we think this is so important, we want people to be really committed to being a part of these groups. And so we would want you to be there for at least 4 out of the 5 weeks, if not all 5 weeks. And to help you commit to that, we are making a small charge of $50 per person to be a part of this experience. This helps pay Jane and Margot for giving of their time, just kind of as a thank you for them, because this is work that they do. And so we want to honor that. But also we know that when we make an investment with our finances, it helps us kind of focus in and try and make like real meaning out of it and real investment. And so we want that for people. This isn't something that, you can just be kind of like halfway in. We want you to be fully in, because that's when you're actually really, really doing the work. And so we thought this season of January, where many home churches will be pausing and things will be a little bit quieter, and also kind of a new year, fresh start, would be a great opportunity to do this. So if this is you, I would love to have you join us. Just click the link, fill out the form, or send me an email, and we'd love to get you involved in our spiritual direction groups. Anything else you want to add, Jane, before we're done?
No, I think that's good. Hope to see some of you there.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.